Welcome to the Cayle Grows account. The entire purpose of this account, for those wondering, by the way, this is like my third YouTube account. I do different niches. It's kind of my thing. I've always done that. We'll get to that. We'll explain. This is going to be a decently long-winded video. But first of all, the point of this account is I want to help you guys do what I do, because I wish that when I was younger, someone would have helped me do what I do now, because I wanted to do what I do now when I was younger, but just I was a little bit too young at the time. So for example, back in the Machinima Respawn days of Call of Duty, if anybody remembers those, for reference, I'm currently 26. I've been doing social media full-time now for 5 years, nearly, and it's been a long ride. We'll explain it all, we'll get there. But basically, I remember I wanted to be a Call of Duty YouTuber so badly when I was a teenager, because I was like, I was good at COD, I like speaking, I could do this. But the problem was that I was 13 and I needed to be like 16 to not be a squeaker. All the lads that were successful when they were that young were like 16 to 21, except for like a couple of the older ones like Junkyard and Woody and things like that. But anyway, point is that I was a little bit too young to get on that boat. And then it kept happening where I kept trying and failing and trying and failing, and I hated school. I had no idea what I wanted to do as a job. Like, people would ask me what I wanted to do, and loads of people would be like, "Oh, you should work in computers. You understand computers. You're decently smart." I'm like, I don't want to work with computers. That's boring. Ironically, I still ended up sitting in the same room all the day on a computer for my job. But like, we'll get to that. I didn't go to uni. I I failed college. My GCSEs I did all right, but like I hated education. I would skive school often enough that I had to have meetings with the education welfare officer. Through my years of social media, because of the way that I speak, a lot of people are under the impression that like I'm posh and that I come from a successful background, but I really don't. I'm from Warsaw. I grew up in a council house with an abusive alcoholic father until he ran away just shy of when I turned 13, and then it was just my single mother, who she herself was just a carer. She told me that at no point in her life has she earned more than £20,000 in a year. I come from like no money whatsoever. And the point of that, the reason I tell you that is because I want you guys to understand that even if you don't come from much, you can make something of it. On this account, I'm going to be very blunt with numbers. I'm not going to spare people's feelings when it comes to the numbers, because I think that doesn't help people. I would have loved... Right, so here's another bit of context for this when it comes to being blunt with numbers and why I'm so blunt with numbers. One of my first real jobs that earned me decent money was I was a personal trainer, yeah? I'm really into my fitness side of things. I've got a whole fitness account. Fitness was the first niche that I was successful on social media, but we'll get to all of that. Anyway, when I was an in-person personal trainer and was okay at that, I really struggled at the time to understand how anyone could ever have a spare 100 British pounds a month to afford a personal trainer. I was like 18, 19 years old, something along those lines, and I remember thinking I'm never going to be able to get enough clients because no one can afford £100 a month. Now, a few years on, now that I'm like not too far removed from 30, the idea in my head that somebody couldn't afford £100 is insane to me. An adult can afford £100 a month. They absolutely can. The next time you're going anywhere and you're in the car, you're walking by a road, whatever, you're on the motorway, look at the cars around you, look at the reg plates around you. If their car is within a few years old and it's on finance like most cars are, they're paying hundreds and hundreds of pounds a month for whatever car it is that they have. People have got the cash. People will spend... Again, as a personal trainer, I saw it all the time. People will spend 3 or 4 times what they would spend on a personal trainer each month on takeaways alone prior to getting to that personal trainer. Most people that hire a personal trainer end up with more money because of the fact that they spend less money on the things that got them fat in the first place. And trust me, I can say that because I was the fat kid. I spent my entire life fat until I was 16. Again, picture here somewhere. And what really would have helped me when I was younger is understanding that just because I come from a place where £100 a month was a monumental amount of money that no one could ever have afforded, that isn't the way the rest of the world works. People have money. There is tons of money out there. I promise you there really is. And you are capable, even if you didn't get a uni, even if you are not academic, even if you don't want to work a normal job, of making it. You really are. I did in the end, eventually. For the rest of this video, I'm going to transition into sitting down and sticking you guys on a tripod, because otherwise I'm going to have a knackered shoulder, because this could get pretty long-winded. Because I want to be, again, the videos on this account are not necessarily going to be incredibly well edited in terms of like succinctness, because I want to be as thorough as I possibly can and actually be helpful. Because again, there are accounts out there that are there to try to teach you how to grow your social media and how to make money and such like that, but so many of them I feel like are more more there to line their own pockets than they are to actually help people. And granted, I'm be right up front with you right now. I'm going to make some money through this account. I am certain of it. I have guides already that I've created over the years on how to grow your fitness stuff, how to grow your TikTok stuff, how to get your social medias and all that sort of thing. And those will all be in the description down below. And I'm going to be pimping those in most videos, I am. But I want to do it by being genuinely adding value to you guys through you spending time watching these. Because I see so many of these videos where people are talking about how to make money online, and they're always through such gimmicky ways like using AI to mass produce trending content and trying to min-max algorithms and never showing your face, never speaking on camera and making 6 figures a month and all that waffle. That is not what this is going to be. This is going to be, how do you actually succeed to grow a platform where people actually want to watch your stuff and like you for who you are on whatever it is that you enjoyed making videos about, and how can you turn that into a sustainable living? Not necessarily something that's going to, I don't know, make you a millionaire within any short time frame, nothing like that. Like just a genuine normal person's income, but through doing the thing that you actually enjoy. So for some perspective right now, because like I said, I'm going to be pretty upfront with numbers. Right now, I probably make between £50,000 to £70,000 a year at the moment from my current social media stuff. That is going to improve over the next couple of years because of the fact that that is just that. The figures I've just told you were before YouTube money was factored into it, before any sales through YouTube or sponsors were factored into it through YouTube or anything like that, because obviously I don't have those results yet because we're not a year in. At 23 years old, in my largest year of social media, I made £120,000 because I had a really good year that year. Through social media, across my various different accounts, I have 900,000 on TikTok through my different accounts, about 63,000 on Instagram. We're talking about followers here, by the way. I'm sure there'll be images on screen if I can edit that in post. My YouTube channel that I started posting to for realsies back in June, bearing in mind this video is recorded in October, I have 21,000 subscribers on, which is pretty good too. And even that is now earning me enough money that I could live off on YouTube alone. So again, I think it's interesting, right? If you compare what I've just said to what some people will say in terms of the amount of money that you can make on social media, I've just said some numbers that are way lower than some of these guys will say. Some of these guys will be trying to teach you how to make 10k a month every month. But like, that doesn't help you. It really doesn't. If you're somebody that right now is making nothing on social media and you want to be making something on social media and get to a point where maybe you've got a 9-to-5 job that pays you 40 grand a year and you'd rather be doing something you really do enjoy, social media and posting videos, and that be your 40 grand a year instead. Because again, a lot of people are under the impression that unless you're making hundreds of thousands to millions of pounds through social media, that you're not succeeding, because these are all these videos that I see by these social media millionaires and things like that. And I don't think that's very helpful to actually be helpful to people. All these people talking about doing faceless this, faceless that, it's just, you're not going to succeed. People are just not. We'll get into the in-depth of why in all the various different videos I'm going to make on this account. But the point is that I actually want this account to be helpful to people and be realistic. You're probably not going to be one of these people that ends up with millions of followers and then makes multi-6 figures a year, but you could. You really could. This is the thing with social media, is the potential is insane. Through my fitness account on TikTok, which is my first account that ever blew up, I've got just shy of 500,000 followers on that account alone. I got to know and have known over the years some of the biggest names in fitness, right? And I can't name names or say people's and how much money's and things like that, but trust me, there are people out there whose sponsors alone will bring them multi-5 figures. There are people out there alone who subscription platforms alone might make them a millionaire. There is levels to social media that is insane. I would class myself as like a mid-tier influencer in terms of like income. Like, I do pretty well at my age. Like, again, I'm 26. At 23 was when I really started doing pretty good. Each year that I've been on social media, again, this is something you've got to learn as social media. If you're going to do social media successfully, there's so many skills that you're going to have to obtain and pick up that that you're just going to have to get good at. And the only way you get good at them is through practice and repetition. A lot of people ooh and ah over starting and try and master all the things that they're going to have to master long before ever actually making content, when realistically, no one's going to see your first few videos no matter what you do, no matter how good they are anyway, really. Well, granted, this is the first video on this account, so it's going to be interesting to see how well this one performs or how well it does not perform. We'll see. But yeah, that's some numbers for you. So again, I want these videos to be genuinely helpful for people, to be completely brutally honest as well, because I wish somebody that I followed would have done this for me when I was younger. I wish when I was younger there was somebody that I could have followed that was talking the truth, that was being realistic about how things actually look on the other side and how to make it through that journey. The closest thing to real I ever had, and I'm going to be shouting this man out a lot through these videos because it's because of this man that I will be a millionaire one day, and we'll get to that. Woody's Gamertag 10 years ago on YouTube made a video called Make $1 Million in 22 years. And the way that you do that is through investing into something called the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is a stocks and shares thing where effectively over the last 30 to 50 years or so, every year it averages a 10% increase. Yeah, so you can use investment calculators and things like that to work out how much money you put in and then tell it how much you're going to return and in how many years you're going to be all right by. So for example, again, if we're going to be completely brutally truthful with you right now, the way it works in the UK anyway, when it comes to the S&P 500, stocks and shares, ISAs and all that sort of thing, is you can put £20,000 in per year, right? Right now, in my Vanguard account, I have 20,000 in the S&P 500 and 16,000 in the FTSE Global, all cap, as my pension, right? So say come April, I've already got £20,000 ready to put back in again. So even if I never earn another penny from today and I stop earning money on social media tomorrow, yeah, I have got £40,000 ready to go in the S&P 500. Now watch this. I'm going to go on an investment calculator right now and I'm going to feed you some numbers. And again, this is how people have made money and gotten rich slow. That's what it's called. This is called getting rich slow. The difference between this and what a lot of people talk about when they talk about the Forex or the day trading and all that sort of thing is that when people talk about day trading and Forex and all that sort of thing, they're often trying to make money fast. They want to be a millionaire next year. That is so unlikely to ever happen for anyone normal that it's ridiculous. But what is in reality possible is that if you're smart with your money, you don't even have to earn extreme amounts of money. Like I said, I'm making whatever I said I was making. You have just got to be smart with your money, and between 40 to 50 years old, you should be a millionaire. You can be. You really can be. Let me demonstrate how. So, right now, by April, I will have £40,000 in the S&P 500. Yeah? Annually, it returns about 10%. Yeah? Assuming I never put another penny in. Yeah? How much money will be in there by the time I'm 50? So I'm currently 26. In 24 years, I've put £40,000 in. And remember, this is compound interest, yeah? So it'll add 10% every year, assuming, granted, you can't look to the past to predict the future, but you can look to the past to make logical guesses. You know, if for 50 years it's averaged 10% over time, odds are that it's likely to continue looking like that for the foreseeable, you know? See it this way, right? If the S&P 500 crashed, we have got bigger problems on our hands. If the top 500 companies in America go under, we are the nukes have gone off and we're all ash. There's been bigger problems, trust me. Anyway, so here's the answer to that question. At 50, how old am I? 26. In 24 years, if I put £40,000 in right now, like I can do in April, because I've maxed it out for this year. I'm not allowed legally to put any more in until April. Yeah. Started with £40,000. Let me switch this around so you guys can see it more accurately, shall I? So you can see what I'm looking at. So £40,000 after 24 years with a return rate of 10%. Take a look at this. By the time I'm 50 years old, I will have just shy of 400,000 in the S&P 500. And if we come down here, if I scroll down, the middle column that you're looking at there is how much interest it gains per year. So theoretically, at any given point, if you wanted to take that as your salary and stop earning more money or stop compounding more money, you could. So for example, left column represents number of years from now, middle column represents how much it's gaining in interest, right hand column represents the total balance. Yeah. Right now, I've got enough in the S&P 500 that if I do nothing else, by 50 years old, I will have 400,000. Now, that's not enough. I want to be a millionaire by 50. So what do we have to do? Let me change some numbers around for you. Okay, so let's use best case scenario here. This is if everything works perfectly the entire time. It might not, but this is best case scenario, right? I want you guys to be inspired by this stuff because it really can be this simple. It's getting rich slow. We're talking about being 50 years old here, yeah? So, right now, 24 years, 10% return, but I'm then also, hang on, make it the beginning of the year, every year at the beginning of the tax year, so when you're legally allowed to put another £20,000 in, I'm going to put another £20,000 into the S&P 500. Yeah? Oh, look. Now, by the time I'm 50, this number up here, the end balance is 2.3 million. I will have contributed myself £480,000 over the next 24 years, but it will have given me in interest 1.8 million. Yeah? By the time I'm 50, if we use the columns again, in 24 years, I'll have 2.3 million in the S&P 500, and it'll be returning me, and I don't know why it's not focusing, it's quite annoying, but you guys can make out those numbers. Oh, now you can't. Brilliant. I've wrecked it. Come on. Come on, come back. Give it a sec. There you go. It'll be returning me £212,000 a year by the time I'm 50 years old. Effectively, taking a look at this graph, right? Best case scenario for me to be a millionaire, the earliest I can be a millionaire, hit my first million, just through the S&P 500 alone and compounding interest over time, is in 16 years. So I'm 24 now. In 16 years, through the S&P 500, I could be a millionaire and be earning £100,000 a year in passive income through the S&P 500. And that is just as how simple as that works. I want you guys to really take the S&P 500 seriously, because the younger you get into this sort of thing, the earlier you are set for life, you know? Granted, that's assuming that I can put £20,000 in every year. You have got to be pretty privileged in life to be able to put £20,000 away every year. But I think that it's possible. I truly do. So for example, I did some maths yesterday in terms of this. Let me walk you through some more maths, shall we? Say you are fresh out of university. Not fresh out of university. Okay, let's say you're my age. You're 26. You are out of university. You have used your degree that you probably have, because I feel like most people go to uni these days, and you've got yourself a corporate nice job, yeah? This is how you use the S&P 500 if you're a regular 9-to-5 person without like mega money. But we're going to use specific salary examples to show you how that's possible even without earning stupid amounts of money every year. So, say your salary is £42,000, because I feel like that's a pretty common salary a few years into whatever degree job you have. You know, I know lots of people my age who make about that amount of money because of their degree, because of the job they have. I'm looking at the numbers here. So if you earned £42,000 a year, your take home is then just shy of £34,000 a year after tax. So then, the way that I live is to make sure, because again, right, okay, let's stop talking about investing for just a second so I can be more realistic with you guys about how the way social media works. Everyone on social media has an expiry date. A lot of people get into social media, and when they start becoming decently successful, their comments will often say, oh, you can't do this forever. What are you going to do? This isn't forever. And it probably isn't forever, which is exactly why the earlier you can use the money that you earn to set yourself up, the better. You know, again, I have seen it so many times because I've been doing this years now, and I've been aware of the fact that people are like making money online for years. Because like I said, I wanted to do it when I was 13. People earn extreme amounts of money sometimes and then do stupid stuff with it, and then down the line, it's as if they never earned it in the first place. Whereas if you earn a good amount of money when you're younger, you can use that money to set yourself up when you're older so that you don't have to maintain that income for a long time, because at some point, you'll be able to live off the interest of it alone. So again, back to the example. Your take home is £33,759, right? £33,759. Okay. I then want to put If I want to max out, this is best case scenario. Again, this is best case scenario. You're currently 25 and you want to be a millionaire in your early 40s. Sorry, that comes with some sacrifice. It really does. But remember, if you've got a normal job, your salary is probably only likely to increase. This is assuming your salary forever is 42,000, and it's going to increase because you're young and it will, or it should. Okay, so I live on 33 grand. I've got just shy of 34 grand, minus 20,000. I'm using a calculator on my phone right now. You guys can't quite tell. I'll flip it around again. To some of you guys, you're going to say this is unrealistic, but this is how I live. This is how it can be possible. So after tax, after the 20k that you invest, now I've got £13,759 left over. I have a partner, so and we go halves on the bills because she's got a decent, good job as well. So that costs me then 9 grand per year, say, like my half of the bills. That leaves me with £1,500. That's not a lot. That is not a lot. £1,500 spending £1,500 a year spending money is not a lot. However, now we have to then be realistic, because again, I'm not here to tell you everything's going to be perfect all the time. You're going to be making loads of money that you can max it out every year, because you might not. I'm being realistic with you. Let's say you can put £1,000 a month into the S&P 500. Yeah, so what's that? No, let's not do that, because that's more than 10 grand a year. Let's just do 10 grand a year. That's about £833 a month, something like that. Yeah? So let's go back to that pre-tax example, post-tax example. 33,759, and you want to put in 10 grand a year, so minus 10,000. Okay, so say your salary hypothetically is 42 grand a year. Your after tax, after your £10,000 a year savings for the S&P 500, you're left with just shy of £24,000. That's 2 grand a month to live on. If you're on your own, you're going to struggle, for sure. But if you're not on your own, that should be pretty handy. Especially some of you younger people. A lot of you younger people, if you still live at home, you've probably not got that high outgoings. While you don't have very high outgoings, save up as much as you possibly can. The reason that I've been able to put so much in the S&P 500 at a young age is because I lived with my mom until I was like 23 and didn't really have much outgoings. So again, save up while you can. Be smart with your money. I'm not saying any of this is easy or comfortable or fun. I'm saying that this is the reality. So again, we're back to my example now. After the S&P contribution of 10 grand, we're at the base. We're now at 23,759. For my house, my portion of the bills comes to 9 grand a year, so minus 9,000, which now leaves us with £14,759 a year spending money, which if we divide that by 12, is £1,200 a month spending money. I don't know about you guys, but I don't spend any more than my monthly outgoings on like fun things, I would say does not cross £300 minimum. Like, I don't spend more than £300 a month. Remember, this £1,200 a month now is after tax and after bills. That is just pure have fun money. That is money to have fun with. Just over £1,200 a month. That's a win, right? So let's go back to the investment calculator and use that 10k we said. Yeah? So, where's my investment calculator? So right now, say you started off with an investment of 10,000. You've saved your first 10,000. 1, 2, 3. And then for 24 years, annually, you put in 10 grand. Bearing in mind that over the course of those 24 years, your salary should be increasing. And if your salary increases, a smart thing to do would be to continually put more in. Because the more you put in, the more you get out. Remember, best case scenario is you can put 20 grand a year in. And if you put 20 grand a year in, you are a millionaire by the time you're in your 40s. If you started at like 25, which is a win. Best case scenario, millionaire by 25. So now, okay, here's how it's applicable to you guys. And remember, this is just earning £42,000 a year. That is not mega money. Why has it done that? Hang on. Take a look at this. You're a millionaire by the time you're 50. Because watch this. Oh, look, your end balance is 1,071,000. So check this out. You started with 10 grand. If you're 20, okay, let's say you're 25 rather than 26, just because it's a nicer number. Yeah, so now you're worth 1.2 million at 50 years old. So You started with £10,000, and for 25 years, each year you put in £10,000, which is half of what you're allowed to put in, by the way. After 25 years, by the time you're 50, you're worth 1.2 million. And at 1.2 million, you are then making, down here, this middle column again, £108,000 a year in passive income. That's lovely. And again, that scenario that as I outlined just there should be very feasible for a lot of people, surely. If you're someone with a nice corporate job that you got because you went to university, you're earning 42 grand a year, which is fairly common realistically, you are someone that is then able to make yourself a millionaire for sure by the time you're 50. I want this to inspire you guys. I really do, because it inspired me when I heard it 10 years ago. I didn't have enough money until I was in my mid-20s to actually do something about it. So step one is to be earning money, I'm sure. So for example, if you're watching this video, I'm sure a lot of you are more interested in earning money through social media than you are a corporate job, because otherwise you probably wouldn't be here now. But the point is that you don't even have to do, okay, so this is something else I hate. Social media people will shit on 9-to-5s all the time. I wouldn't. The reason I have taken the route I have taken is because I couldn't go the 9-to-5 route and do well, because I didn't go to uni and I didn't like academics and none of that. I couldn't have gotten a good, well-paying 9-to-5 if I'd have tried. Or at least if I could have, I'd have had to work through minimum wage for a long time before I'd get there. But instead, I took it into my own hands. And like I said, you can do this. You can. I'm being real with you. This is a position that is not easy. It's going to take a ton of work, and it sounds insensitive to say, oh, just put 10 grand a year away, but you can. Here's the reality, and Woody in that video said it best. If you want to be rich when you're older, you can find that money. You can. And just to reiterate, money put into the S&P 500 isn't just lost the second you put it in. It's not like a pension where you can't withdraw it. If you end up struggling in life for whatever reason, you need that money back, you just sell it and pay yourself it back. The 40,000 that I will have in April, if in May I need it back, I can sell those shares and get it back. It's not just in there forever, stuck like pension money is. I've got money in my pension pot too. That isn't touchable until we're in our 50s. So you can start living off that interest as soon as you've got enough money in there to live off that interest. I live off very little amounts of money because I save it all because I want to set myself up for later. I've always had this thing in my head where because I came from next to nothing, because I had nothing until I was 23, the value of money means so much to me that it's I don't want to spend money because I'm aware of how much of a position of luxury I ended up in because of social media allowing me to be. But I'm also aware that it does not last forever. So I have to do everything in my power while I still can so that I'm set up in the future. Like I said, all goes best to plan. Best case scenario, I'm a millionaire in my early 40s. That's reality. And that is entirely possible. And again, all of this is without ever earning extreme amounts of money. If you were to listen to the gurus that tell you that you can make 10, 20, 30, 50k a month, right? You're only allowed to put 20k into that S&P 500 a year. This is not magical made up numbers. This is not, only 1 in a billion people are capable of this. This is real life, what people have been doing forever. This is how actual wealth is created. People use their money to make themselves money. The reason there is a limit of 20k a year on this is because if there wasn't, people with lots of money would be crazy rich, crazy fast, And again, there is no guaranteeing that it will continue to go up. It's just all about common sense and logic based upon what history has told us. History tells us that every year, on average, it gains 10%. And it has done since the 70s or something like that. We're halfway through the 2020s. For 50 years, it's done this. Here's one for you. My girlfriend was talking to her mom, and it's because of my girlfriend's family that I managed to probably turn my life around a little bit, because they're all very well off. Me and my partner come from very different upbringings. My girlfriend's little brother had been to more countries than I have now by the time he was about 6 years old. they're really quite well off, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind me saying that. They've done well for themselves. But it's because of being exposed to their lifestyle from when I was like 18 that I understood that there was money out there, that there is the possibility to change stuff. I understand that some people might. Please listen to me. I'm trying to be as rational and as helpful as I possibly can here. I know that some people are probably sat there hearing these numbers and going, that's an amount of money I will never see in my life. They're probably sat there thinking 42,000 is an amount of money I will never earn in my life. Because I get it. I promise you I understand it, because that was me. That was me. I had never earned enough to pay tax until I was like 23, because I'd never done it. Because I didn't understand there was money out there. I didn't. And this isn't even just a case of like, you've got to go entrepreneurial to make your money. Like I said, if you can get a degree and get a decent job and just have that stability like my partner does, like so many people do, why would you not? I get it. Do that too. Do that as well as if you can. If you can make 40 grand through your 9 to 5 and then come home, do social media and make another 40 grand, which is very possible, you're laughing, you know? Like, I understand that this is an amount of money that you probably thought was just never, some people are going to hear is just never touchable. And it sounds insensitive to say these numbers out loud and talk about them so commonplace and nonchalantly, but I promise you it's possible. I understand that there's a saying that we are a product of the people that we surround ourselves with. And for the majority of my life, because of the fact that I, A, didn't leave the house very often, and B, grew up around my family where we didn't have much money, I was a product of that circle where I didn't think there was much money and I thought I would never have any money. And now, here's reality, right? Even if I never put another penny in my pension, I'm a millionaire at 50. I'm already am. As long as the S&P 500 does not crash and beat the 50-year average that it's set and just drop to the floor, I'm a millionaire at 50 already, if I never put in any more money from today because of my pension. But again, I want you guys to understand that you have the power to change your life. You have the ability to make something of yourself, even no matter where you came from. It's why people call me posh sometimes, and I become bothered by it because it does annoy me, because I'm not posh. I grew up with an abusive father in a council house. None of my family sound like me. If you're from England and you know what people from Warsaw sound like, you know how I'm supposed to sound. I just don't. I don't know why I don't, but I should sound like that. I earned £300 a month until I was like 23 or 22 or something like that. In my early 20s, whatever. I had no money to my name until I made something of myself. And I want to inspire you guys to make something of yourself so that you can then use that money while you are able to make it. Because again, I want you to be realistic with it. Assuming I'm able to help you succeed in your career to do something in social media successfully. And again, we're not talking earning tens of thousands of pounds a month here. We're talking about earning like 3k a month, 4k a month, something realistic, you know? And again, to some people, those sound like absurd numbers. But if you compare it to what the other gurus on the internet are telling you is possible, and to be real, it is possible to make those figures too, but you have to be the mega influencer at that point. We're just talking about your standard earning enough normal people amounts of money. I promise you, £42,000 is a normal people amount of money. Hopefully, some of you guys watching this are earning so far beyond that now that you go, £42,000 is nothing. Good. If you're there already, brilliant. But if you're not, I promise you there are people that will hear £42,000 and think that is an amount of money I will never hear. I remember I was working at Tesco, right, getting that £300 a month when I was listening in on the phone call my partner had when she got her job offer at her big girl corporate job after she finished uni. And I heard them say £30,000 back then. And I was like, that is an amount of money my mother has never earned. And she's going to get it at 21. What? And it blew my mind. It blew my mind. So please, take inspiration. Take your life into your own hands. Don't be the person that sits there going, it can't be me. Why can't it be you? You can do whatever you choose to do if you actually choose to put the effort in to do it. Don't be the person that sits there making excuses for yourself, because here's the thing. The time is going to pass no matter how you choose to spend it. You are going to blink and you're going to be 40 years old. It feels like yesterday I left high school. It's been a decade, like right now. 10 years ago. I'm going to blink again and it's going to have been another 10 years. There might be somebody watching this. Comment down below if this is you. Please comment down below proving me right. If you are in your 30s watching this, you were 18 a blink ago, weren't you? You remember being 18 like it was yesterday. That time flew like it was nothing, didn't it? The time is going to pass no matter how we choose to spend it. You can either choose to make excuses for yourself and not get anywhere, Or you can do something. You can take it into your own hands, make something of yourself, set yourself up, use your time wisely, because that time is going to pass no matter how you choose to spend it, and your time is worth money, and you are capable of doing something if you choose to. Some people are not going to do it because that is just human nature, but others will. And if even one person listens to this and changes their life because of it, I've done my job. Because again, that Woody's Gamertag video from 10 years ago, if you go look at the comment section of that video today, and you should, I'm gonna tag it down below, go watch that video. There are people my age now who 10 years ago watched that video who are now worth $500,000 because for 10 years they listened to him. And in 10 more years, they'll be worth another $500,000. And it's because they started younger than I am now, younger than you guys might be. You have the power to do it. Do it. Welcome to this account. I intend to inspire and help as much as I can. See you in a bit.